Buckle up, because today's deep dive takes us into the wild world of Wolverine.
We're dissecting excerpts from Marvel fandom wikis, specifically focusing on the James Howlett Earth 6 Sense Teen iteration.
Your source material is Tennessee.
Oh, it's full of tangled history and surprising connections.
Our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to equip you with the most fascinating Wolverine knowledge. Whether you're prepping for, like, a comic book debate or just, satisfying a curiosity craving.
Right, we're going deep.
You've given us a mountain of information about Wolverine.
A mountain that spans centuries. It's true.
It's almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
So let's zero in on the pivotal moments that truly define him.
Okay.
Where do we even begin to unpack this guy?
Well, what's fascinating about Wolverine is how his incredibly long life, we're talking centuries here, connects with his really messed up memories.
Yeah.
He's lived through huge historical events like World Wars, the Cold War.
Right.
But he often has, it's like fake memories mixed in with the real ones.
Wow.
This constant struggle to figure out who he really is, that's really key to understanding Wolverine.
It's like trying to solve a mystery, but someone keeps switching out the clues.
Exactly.
No wonder he's so grumpy.
Small blackle.
So, where does this mysterious past begin?
Well, the story starts with a young James Howlett in late 19th century Canada.
Yeah.
His childhood on the Howlett estate.
Yeah.
It was traumatic, marked by violence and loss.
Right.
These early experiences really shaped his worldview and that famous rage of his.
Yeah, the wiki entries paint a picture of a pretty brutal upbringing.
It's rough.
But there's one specific event, the incident with his father. That feels like a major turning point, like someone lit a fuse.
Exactly, and that's when his mutant abilities first appear.
The claws.
The claws, the healing factor.
Right.
It's a brutal, primal moment that sets him on a path of isolation and violence.
Right.
And what's important to understand is that this isn't some clean superhero origin story.
Right.
He doesn't just master his powers overnight.
Of course not.
It's a long, brutal journey of coming to terms with what he is.
Yeah, it's messy.
Very messy.
And then things get even more intense with the Weapon X program.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't messing around, were they?
No, they were not.
They basically turned him into a living weapon.
This is where we have to talk about the adamantium.
Right, the adamantium.
This experiment, bonding that indestructible metal to his skeleton, it's absolutely crucial to Wolverine's identity. It made him almost indestructible, but the cost was huge.
I can't even imagine the physical pain.
The physical pain must have been agonizing,
Right.
but it's the psychological toll that's truly terrifying.
Oh, absolutely.
Imagine having your memories ripped away, your mind tampered with.
Oh, that's awful.
It's awful. And it intensifies his inner turmoil and explains why he struggles so much with his darker impulses.
So he's grappling with this brutal past.
Yeah.
And now on top of that, he has to deal with the consequences of the Weapon X program.
Right.
No wonder he has trust issues.
Exactly. He's left with these gaps in his memory.
Right.
And it makes him incredibly vulnerable to manipulation.
Oh, yeah.
People see his skills, his rage, they try to use him.
Right.
But here's something interesting.
Okay.
The adamantium also had a significant effect on his mutation. It essentially suppressed his more feral nature.
Yeah.
It's like they tried to cage the beast within.
So you're saying that the same experiment that amplified his pain and rage also helped to keep it in check?
In a way, yes.
That adds a whole other layer of complexity to his character.
Absolutely.
It makes you think about how much control he actually has.
Yes. And this internal struggle, this constant push and pull between man and beast, it's central to understanding Wolverine.
It's like he's constantly battling himself, even without a supervillain in sight.
Yeah, no kidding.
And from the looks of these wikis, his love life hasn't offered much of a break from the inner turmoil.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Actually, it seems like it's made things even more complicated.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah.
Wolverine's romantic history is, well, it's a bit of a minefield.
Right.
He's definitely no stranger to tragedy, especially when it comes to love.
Yeah. The death of Mariko Yoshida.
Oh.
That feels like a pivotal moment in the source material.
Huge turning point for him.
It's not just a lost love, it feels like a lost chance at something more.
Exactly. Mariko represented something profound for Logan, like a beacon of peace.
Right.
A glimpse at a life he could have had.
Wow.
Her death, even if it was a mercy killing by his own hand, it left an emotional scar that never really fades.
Oh, wow.
And then, of course, there's Silver Fox.
Right.
Another relationship marked by tragedy and loss.
It's like every time he lets someone get close, something terrible happens.
It's a pattern, for sure.
It makes sense that he builds those walls around himself, keeps people at arm's length with that gruff exterior and those claws.
It's a defense mechanism, absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
He's terrified of losing anyone else, of being vulnerable, so he pushes people away before they can hurt him.
Right.
But even with all that armor, the pain still finds a way in.
And then there's the whole berserker rage thing.
Oh, yeah.
The wikis mention it quite a bit.
Right.
This isn't just your average anger management issue, right?
No, not even close.
This feels different, primal.
Oh, absolutely. The berserker rage is a complete loss of control.
Wow.
He's basically a force of nature at that point.
Really?
Raw, animalistic, fueled by pure instinct.
Oh, wow.
It makes him incredibly dangerous, even to his allies.
That's terrifying. So we're talking like a real danger to anyone nearby, even the people he's trying to protect.
Unfortunately, yes. It's a terrifying glimpse into that savage nature he's always fighting to keep in check.
Yeah.
A reminder that the beast is always lurking beneath the surface.
Okay, so we've established Wolverine as a complex guy with a dark past, a painful present,
Yep.
and a whole lot of rage.
And claws.
Right, and claws.
Don't forget those.
But I have to admit, even with all that baggage, he's still drawn to people.
Yeah, he is.
The wikis are full of examples of his complex relationships.
He's got a lot going on.
He's been part of X-Men teams, the Avengers. He even went to hell, for crying out loud.
He's been around,
He has.
but that's part of what makes him so fascinating, right?
Right.
And you're right. Underneath all the gruffness and the brooding,
Yeah.
there's a capacity for deep loyalty
Okay.
and even tenderness.
Interesting.
Yeah.
His relationship with Jubilee comes to mind.
Oh, interesting example.
Ooh, it's interesting to see her go from this plucky teen sidekick to someone who really gets him.
Precisely. Their relationship is a great example of how Wolverine can connect with people on a deeper level.
Yeah.
He's fiercely protective of her,
Right.
but he also respects her enough to let her challenge him.
That's good.
And she does. She pushes back against his cynicism, his gruffness,
Right.
and somehow it works.
Huh. It feels like she brings out a side of him we don't always get to see.
Right.
A softer side, a more playful side.
Exactly. And it highlights something crucial about Wolverine.
Right.
He's not just a lone wolf.
Okay.
He craves connection, even if he doesn't always know how to ask for it.
Right.
Even his rivalry with Cyclops, which the source material really dives into, kind of points to that.
I was going to say, we can't talk about Wolverine's relationships without mentioning Cyclops.
Right, it's a big one.
That's a whole other dynamic.
Definitely.
It's not just a personality clash. It feels like a clash of ideologies.
Exactly. Their dynamic represents a fundamental tension within the X-Men.
Okay.
A debate about how to protect mutant kind.
Right. How to protect mutant kind.
Cyclops, the strategist, believes in order, control.
He does. He's very by the books.
Right, he takes the weight of leadership seriously.
Wolverine's a little more, shoot first, ask questions later.
Well, Wolverine, on the other hand, is more instinctive, more willing to get his hands dirty.
He's driven by a deep sense of loyalty to those he considers family, even if it means bending the rules a bit, or a lot.
And that's the key to their conflict.
Okay.
Cyclops represents the head, Wolverine, the heart.
Interesting.
It's a fascinating exploration of the gray areas of morality.
Right.
The tough choices that come with fighting for a better world.
It's like they're both fighting for the same cause, but have completely different ideas about what that fight should look like.
Which makes you wonder, is there ever one right answer when it comes to protecting others?
That's a deep thought for a Wednesday morning. But it speaks to what makes Wolverine such a compelling character.
He really makes you think.
He makes you question things, challenges your assumptions about heroes and right and wrong.
Definitely.
But I'm noticing another theme in these wikis. Wolverine seems to have a knack for connecting with younger, less experienced mutants.
You're right, he does.
It's like more than you'd expect from such a, rough around the edges kind of guy.
That's a very astute observation.
Oh, thanks.
Wolverine often takes on a mentor role, particularly with characters like Kitty Pryde and Laura Kinney, better known as X-23.
Yeah, X-23, she's like a clone of Wolverine, right?
In a way, yes.
Okay.
Though the comics delve into their differences as well.
Right.
It's the similarities that initially draw them together.
Makes sense.
Both are haunted by their pasts, struggling with their darker natures.
Yeah.
Wolverine sees a lot of himself in Laura. That potential for both good and destruction.
Oh, wow.
He knows what it's like to be used, manipulated, turned into a weapon.
Right.
He doesn't want to see that happen to someone else, especially not someone like Laura.
So he takes her under his wing, tries to steer her towards a better path.
Exactly.
It's like he's trying to break the cycle of violence.
Trying to offer her the guidance he never really had.
Which is interesting, right?
Right.
Because it makes you think about his moral compass.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is a guy known for his brutality.
That's one word for it.
But he also draws the line at certain things. It's complicated.
Exactly. Wolverine isn't driven by blind rage or a love of violence.
Right.
He's governed by a strong, albeit unconventional, moral code.
Oh, okay.
He believes in protecting the innocent,
Right.
even if it means getting his claws a little bloody in the process.
He's not afraid to make the tough calls,
Not at all.
to get his hands dirty. But it always seems to come from a place of wanting to do the right thing,
Yeah.
however messy that might be.
And it's that constant struggle, that internal battle between his savage nature and his desire to be better, that makes him such a fascinating character to explore.
He's a reminder that good and bad aren't always clear-cut.
Not at all.
There's a lot of gray area in
A
between.
lot of gray.
So we've covered a lot about what makes Wolverine such an enduring figure. His brutal past, his complicated relationships, that constant battle within himself.
It's a lot.
But after digging into all these wikis, I keep coming back to one question.
What's that?
What is it about this, gruff, brooding, often violent character that resonates with people?
Yeah.
Why do we root for him?
It's a great question, and I think it's because, for all his complexities and contradictions, Wolverine is ultimately human.
Yeah.
He's flawed, he's hurt, he makes mistakes, but he keeps fighting.
He does. He never gives up.
He never gives up on trying to be better, even when it feels impossible.
He's a survivor through and through.
Exactly. And his resilience, his determination to overcome the darkness,
Yeah.
both within himself and in the world around him, it's incredibly inspiring.
He's a reminder that we all have scars, both visible and invisible.
We do.
We all have that beast lurking inside.
It's true.
But it's how we choose to deal with it, how we choose to move forward, that defines us.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So after this deep dive into Wolverine's world, the question I'll leave you with is this. What do you see when you look at Wolverine? A hero, a weapon, a survivor, or maybe, just maybe, a reflection of yourself?